Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. Hey, Sapphire. Hey, Diginanigans. Diginanigans. Word is this is going to be an excellent stream. Looking forward to your outlook on how things are going this stream. It's very funny. The off-topic channel in the Discord has been overrun with Microsoft puns, which we're apparently continuing. That was some really high energy music when you joined. Yeah, it was a little silly, but I kind of liked it. Hey, Nix. You made it. I was a little worried. I was like, man, this is so late. What are the odds that Nix isn't just asleep when I start the stream today? Hey, Ergo. How's it going? All right, we're back. We're going to carry on the work from yesterday. After a number of days, I think we figured out the exact bug that's happening with our block nearest neighbor stuff that we're trying to do. It's only 2,100 hours. Oh, good. All right, radio change in time. What do I want today? Same thing we do every day, I guess. I should play around with the radio a little more. There's some other options that would be fun. Maybe this weekend we'll listen to some different stuff. Try to take over the world. Oh, the word? Yeah. Are we still making Microsoft puns? All right. Yeah, so there's a really annoying bug happening right now that we finally figured out. Where, because I removed a safeguard from the input handler, we're processing a single request to make a block as multiple requests. And we're adding multiple blocks very quickly, like within a couple of frames. But the block is being erased from the visual world with that while still being included. It's a very interesting combination of things. We're going to try to shut it down as far upstream as we can rather than deal with all the side effects of it, which would mean adding some safeguards back to the input handler. Or maybe not the input handler itself, but like the input handling process. Yeah. No, Nix said try to take over the word. Manigans. But yeah, I like Pinky and the Brain is great. I love Animaniacs. It's not time for Animaniacs, but I love Animaniacs. Narf. Yeah, exactly, Rimas. All right, so what happened is we changed a couple of... So we're using kind of like a fundamentally different structure for taking in player input. Before we were recording just the tile. Now we're recording the tile and the pixel offset within the tile. For good reasons, because it matters where within the tile the cursor is. Hey, Jacob, how's it going? Yeah, these later starts are good. Everyone hops in so quickly. I start a little later. Hey, Pheasant. You see. Makes sense. I hope so. Yeah, we've been chasing down a very nasty bug. But thanks for the subscribe. Appreciate it. 16 months. Crazy. Really appreciate it. Hope everyone's having a good day today. But yeah, let's shut this down. So what we were doing was we had like a last mapping, which is like... So what we previously did is I would only send out commands if the cursor changed. Like if the actual tile that the cursor was over moved. Not like if the cursor itself moved, but if like the tile we were referencing moved. And that shut this stuff down really quickly. But because we're like doing this search that can change even though if the cursor stays within a specific tile, because we're doing our like raycast thing, we need to allow for the Animaniacs were the ones with the water tower. You always thought those were the Looney Tunes. The Animaniacs are the ones with the water tower. They're the ones like Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, and like Pinky and the Brain, and like a few others. There was that squirrel. Chipmunk or something. I don't know. I don't remember all of the core cast of Animaniacs, but man, that was a good show. I get kind of confused about the like lineage of like Acme cartoons and like Hanna-Barbera and all that old stuff, but this much I know. Hey, Mr. Magoo, how's it going? Happy Thursday. Mandela effect, yeah, kind of. But yeah, so if we're within a tile, it used to not matter where within the tile we were, but now it does because we do this spiraling check where like if we're on the left side of the tile, we'll do this counterclockwise spiral to find all the blocks that are underneath that part of the tile where the cursor is. We'll kind of do this spiraling look. But if we're on the right side, we do a clockwise spiral. So if you shift from the left side to the right side of the tile, you might be on a different block, which is why we have to open it up a little bit. We can't just not listen to an event just because it's within the same tile. So we have to allow for that. But we need to find another way to prevent these kind of like accidental like double taps of inputs. Hey, Magoo on the 5 stream streak. Rebuilding. Yes. You'll get back. You'll get back up there. Try again, you know. Hey, you too, Magoo. Yeah, sorry, Nix. You know, sometimes a streak ends, but hey, that's just an opportunity to start again. So I gotta kind of decide on where I want to introduce some kind of safeguard to prevent that kind of double tap. I'm also still eating my apple, my little stream snack, so I'm gonna do that for a second as I think. But you know, talk amongst yourselves. If anyone else is working on anything, I'd love to hear about it. Or if they're just hanging out or whatever, that's cool too. Sapphire, is there something special when you hit a 50 stream streak? Not yet, but we'll see. If someone gets there, that might warrant something. It's impressive. It's really impressive and or a cry for help. No, it's great. Jacob, you're just getting back to your main project. Doing the solo jam last weekend. Beat me up. Yeah, I could see that. I didn't do that. It was a little too soon for me after the holidays. But yeah, if you'd like to share your project, please post it in the Discord. I'd love to check it out. You get a flight over to Dave. That could be very expensive. We go. You're at 43 right now, Sapphire. That's impressive. Jacob, that was your first jam? Oh, that was like your first jam ever? That's awesome. It's a thrilling experience. I'm kind of addicted to game jamming. I wish I had more time. I would do it more. Shenanigans, just the same old stuff you're working on. Busier work day to day, not touching personal stuff as much. You're tempted to turn your projector into a smart board, though, by doing some work with a Raspberry Pi and a Wiimote. Ooh, that could be fun. That sounds fun. I want to get more into some home lab DIY project stuff. I need to build a couple computers this weekend. I've had the parts sitting since like Black Friday. I haven't had time to do anything with them. But I got to build them up, and then I'll have some old computers to mess around with. Do some fun stuff with. I'm excited to see what we can do. I think I'm going to try to like quote unquote onshore a bunch of my cloud stuff. I mean, I'll still need to have cloud backups of things, but I'm like interested in setting up like a local Git and like maybe some hosting stuff. Some other hosting stuff. All right, I don't think we can prevent the input here where we used to. I don't think we can prevent it here, which is unfortunate. I think we just have to let the inputs come in. But we can try to prevent it somewhere else. So we can't prevent it quite as far upstream as I would have liked, but that's okay. That is okay. We're going to prevent it a little lower, a little further downstream. Jacob, you'll share it in the Discord. You overscoped ever so slightly regarding combat readability, though, to be warned. Oh, that's fine. If you only overscoped slightly on your first jam game, that's huge. That's a huge accomplishment. Scoping a jam game is like the skill. I think that's the only real relevant skill to game jamming, is actually having a good idea of what you can do in like 2 or 3 days or however much time you have. Magoo, you got your head around networking. You got some modded MC servers running on your server. You think it'll be a while till you get your OS doing pinging though? Oh, that's cool. Networking is crazy. I don't spend any time doing networking because it seems like just such a hard problem for me. Shenanigans, you've been getting in too deep with D&D stuff. You started using VTT on the projector. You'd like to digitally draw on the map. I don't know what a VTT is. But it sounds like you want to draw, like be able to draw like overlay stuff on the maps you made. You got a bajillion other things on the go though. You're trying to talk yourself out of it. Yeah, it's always one more thing. Jacob, it works. I guess there are other things like balance and such. Who needs balance, you know? Balance is for multiplayer games. All right, we don't need to debug this stuff anymore. We kind of know what's happening. Now we understand what's happening. So this is the next part downstream. from the input handler. This is the first system that processes the input, and it prepares some stuff for the block sculpting system. The block sculpting system is ultimately where this bug is appearing, because the block sculpting system is, it's placing a block, and then like 1 frame later, probably using a repeat input. Well, I know it's using a repeat input, but it's like placing a block, and then the cursor mapping system is like, oh, there's a block here now. So now let me raise the offset by 1 so that you can place a block on top of that block. So you can, you know, put a block on your block and block while you block. Yo, dog. And that we have to present. But for some reason, the sculpting system is also erasing that block from the visible world, which is an interesting problem. I understand how that's happening. I don't totally understand why, but that's okay. Shenanigans. VTT, virtual tabletop. Oh, okay. Usually used more for playing games online. Makes it a lot easier and more immersive in person too with the projector. Oh, so like you can like move stuff or draw directly on the table. That's nice. Dynamically measure distances, check the area of effect for abilities, move the map around, etc. That stuff's super cool. I've always steered away from that stuff in D&D because I've always been like, you know, I have experience wargaming. Like I like as a kid, I'd play like Warhammer 40K and stuff, and like when you like distance check and you're just like slightly out of range for something, like that's always annoying. And you have people like playing with like just getting just slightly in range, slightly out of range, in range, out of range. So I've always been more of like a theater of the mind person when, you know, at least the few times that I've DM'd. But it's cool to be able to do all the wargaming stuff. And I think D&D 5e is interesting enough mechanically that it warrants doing that kind of stuff. Next. Magoo, it's been heavily snowing where you are. That's cool. I don't know the last time I've seen snow. You know, in person. I've looked off at a distant mountain and I've seen it, but I don't think I've been in the snow in like 20 years, maybe. Crazy. Some friends are potentially planning a snow trip this winter. That'd be cool. It'd be cool to see the snow. I don't know if I want to be in the snow, but it'd be cool to see it up close. All right, so maybe we can protect. So I kind of just implemented this stuff without thinking of some of the consequences. I think we need to think of some of the consequences and try to re-engineer some of the stuff we're doing here. Danigans, you were originally just drawing battle maps on paper and stuff. It's so tedious to draw up. It takes a lot more time to prep sessions. Yeah. Yeah, the one system I made was like I could like scan in a map and I could like use like fog of war to like hide tiles, but I only ever did it tile by tile. I never did like any battle stuff or placing units on there or anything. It was just like it was easier to do an LOD thing, or not LOD, LOS kind of deal. It's so hard to like hide a map with like sheets of paper and like uncover the sheets gradually and all that stuff. It's like you try to find a balance of physical and digital because you do enough stuff on a computer. D&D is one of the chances to get away from it. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, my group did not survive the transition to digital. I personally it just lost something for me. Hey, RJ. You're gonna go for a frolic in the snow. Nice. Enjoy. Hey, Boolean. Hello and Happy New Year. You as well. How's it going? All right. I don't think we can fix this at this level either, at the cursor mapping level. We can change a couple things here, though. I think we're going to end up doing like a hybrid. We aren't really worrying about the Z level yet in terms of being able to alter the Z level with the scroll wheel. But we're going to start doing that. And I think the difference is going to be if there's a cursor hit list, like if you're actually over a block and you've formed a cursor hit list of like all the blocks that you're hitting along that ray, quote unquote ray, then the scroll wheel should move you through that list. Whereas if you're not over anything, then the scroll wheel should move you through the Z levels one by one, I think. I don't know how we're going to actually implement that, but I think that's kind of the direction we're going to head. So I'm going to change some of this stuff. So I realized we can't clamp the input. Or specifically, we can clamp it, but what we can't do is we need to be able to play with the negative space. Like, we need to be able to go into the negative because that's how we're going to hit higher level blocks. You're doing good? How am I? I'm all right. I'm all right. We're working hard. We're working a lot. I'm back from, all the holiday stuff. I took a couple vacations. It was real nice. But now we're back to, working like 60 hours a week. And this is my first week back doing that. So I'm tired. I'm remembering how one does this. Working hard or hardly working. Yeah, last month was hardly working. This month we're back to working hard. The time between like Thanksgiving and New Year's is like a very necessary break for me. I mean, I still work and it's not like I'm off the whole month or whatever, but it has a very different feel. Whereas now we're trying to get back into the swing of things. Julian, yeah, same. You took lots of time off. Yeah, I think that's important. Yeah, I don't think I can clamp any aspect of the input. I think we need a test. I'm gonna come back to that. I'm really interested in how we're gonna prevent this big bug here. This block placement bug. Does nobody call this ready method? Do we not actually use the clipped blocks? Oh, not yet. That would crash if we did, though. Okay, I guess we'll continue to not do that. Actually, you should be calling the ready function for all of your systems. You should be saying like cursor mapping system dot ready. Game dot cursor mapping system dot ready. Game dot block sculpting system dot ready. Game dot block flood filling system dot ready. Game dot block cutaway system dot ready. Yeah, your job is to, well, your job might not actually be to launch the ready for this, but we'll see. Boolean. Thanksgiving to New Year's is the only real time you can even possibly relax during the year. You try to take full advantage every year. Nice. Yeah, I hope you were able to. Yeah, we got some time that we can just focus in, do our work. Our first game jam of the year will probably be early March. I actually have to see how that matches up with GDC this year, which is like much earlier than usual. It's like also early March, which I'm not going to in the sense of I'm not buying a ticket, but there will be lots of events that week. So we have January and February kind of just focus, which is good. Ergo, do I have like a Minecraft block system? Kind of, not really. It's much more tightly scoped. It's for building out our ships. So each ship kind of has its own block space, which is how we build out the hull and the rooms and all that stuff. But it's not like Minecraft. It's not like an open-ended like chunks of like block spaces that are all contiguous and like infinite. It's not like that. It's like, it's very tight. And it's more for like editing and building the world, and then processing stuff that's like volumetric, like flood filling for like atmosphere and like compartmentalizations. Which jam is in March? Focus, what is that? Yeah, that's a good question. Down to jam. d2jam.com, the community-centered game jam. It's March 6th through March 9th. So we'll do that. When's GDC this year? GDC 2026. March 9th through 13th. So yeah, that's going to be a busy time. Yeah, we'll probably do that, and then we'll probably do Ludum Dare. Which Ludum Dare is coming up? 59. That should be in early April. Oh, that's Atagons? Yeah, you could think of it that way. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of structured similarly to Ludum Dare, but you get a little more time. It's also like a 72-hour jam, which is the sweet spot for me. I like a 72-hour jam. You're having a snowball fight, Magoo? That's nice. That sounds fun. Yeah, Ergo, I would show you more about our block editing tool, but it's kind of broken right now because of all this. So this sync preview buffer changes thing, it's super weird that this is being called while we're still editing, which is leading to that ghost block getting added. I don't totally understand how that could happen. That's something I need to figure out. Jacob, yeah, you like the 72-hour jam format? Yeah, that's good for me. Ludum Dare, the compo is like 48 hours, and that's like not enough time, especially because you have to do it all from scratch. But 72 hours is pretty good. When is it not broken in some way? Well, there's a difference between having problems and, you know, being totally broken such that we can't really demonstrate it. My problem, I think, is related to the fact that I haven't clearly thought about how we use these bounding boxes, these axis-aligned bounding boxes, for handling input over multiple frames. I don't think I totally thought about how that interacts with our new cursor mapping system, and I think it's causing some weird stuff to happen. However, I still don't totally see how it's doing the thing that it's doing. But at least I know what it's doing now. I forgot that was 48. Well, the compo is the jam category is 72 hours. For Ludum Dare. But yeah, Ludum Dare compo is hard. That is an exercise in scoping. That is a very tough exercise in accurate scoping. All right, so if we're doing our block placement, we receive this begin. So the thing that's confusing me is getting it. It sounds like we're getting either begin and end or multiple end placement arguments very quickly, and I don't totally understand how that's happening, so I guess I should double check. No, because we're setting the amid interaction correctly. I'm tempted to move away from my, like, command pattern style of processing input. I'm tempted to create, like, an input entity that is having its, like, flags altered. That's not super different, but it's a bit different. Oh my lord. Starlight Lacuna coming in with the raid. Raid alert. Raid alert, everyone. Repel borders. Stargate Blue. Starlight Lacuna. Galderton Gaming. Welcome in. Thanks for the Starlight raid. How's it going? Jacob, oh, that Down to Jam his birthday weekend. Ooh, that is brutal. That could be fun. Ergo, you missed if you answered. You were not live. You watched delayed by a lot. Yeah, I can go into it more in a second. Hey, how's it going? It's good. It's good. It's good. How was your stream? We've spent the last couple days bug hunting. We're trying out this new input model, and it's caused some unintended side effects, and we figured out where the problems are, but we're trying to figure out how to add safeguards to actually fix it. We're working on this kind of fake raycasting system that will let me, like, mouse over, like, a specific block face and know that I'm moused over that block face, because it's all tile map stuff. Everything I do is tile map stuff with this game. So we're deep in the weeds with some programming stuff here. But I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year's. Welcome in, Raiders. This is Digital Iliad. I keep forgetting I don't do my intro all the time. We're making an isometric 2D kind of FTL, faster than light style game in Godot. Your stream was good. Very low energy UI work. But now the player doesn't move while the inventory is open. Oh no. Or is that good? That seems good, maybe. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Oh, Sapphire, you jumped over to YouTube. It's good? Okay, good. Okay. I could see a world in which that is not good. But no, that's good. Yeah, Ergo, we have a block system, but it's more for the way we build the ships. We build the ships using a kind of block volume kind of thing, which lets us build, you know, rooms, compartments, and all that stuff. It lets us build out the shell of the ship. But it's not like Minecraft. It's not like a voxel world. There aren't, like, chunks of blocks in like an infinitely, you know, spanning world. It's like a ship is a block space, and that's how it's constructed. But that's the extent of it. So it's more of like an editing and simulation tool. Sapphire, you learned how to duplicate. You're here as well. Thanks. Thanks for padding the stats. I appreciate that. Thanks for giving me a 2-for-1 in terms of viewer numbers. But yeah, thank you for the raid, Starlight. Let me give you that shout out that I literally always forget to do. You gotta run, no worries. We're also having a pretty low energy stream here. I'm just tired. I'm like back at doing my first full, you know, my first full work week of the new year, and I'm still getting used to it. Still getting back into the swing of things. So yeah, if you got a raid and run, totally get it. If you're gonna lurk for a while, you're very welcome. Week after the holidays is tough on the energy levels. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have a day job that I balance the game dev against, and it kind of means I end up working 60 hours a week most weeks, which is sustainable, sort of. But yeah, it can be brutal. Like I haven't been getting enough sleep. I've been too indulgent. I've been like watching movies and staying up and working on stuff into the night. I gotta get a little more disciplined about when I go to sleep, and I gotta reintroduce some exercise and all that good stuff. It's a struggle, you know? But it's a worthy struggle. You get some food, you'll be lurking. If the work in the stream goes wonderfully. Yeah, thank you. Enjoy the food. Sapphire, you're curious what I think of your logo on the YouTube side? You made it years ago at this point. You don't have the image file anymore. It's supposed to be planets in the shape of your username initials. Oh. I don't think I can see that. Let me see if I can do this in a way that doesn't... Oh, interesting. STS. I see that. There's like, it's like a volcanic world for the S, and then the T is like an Earth-like world. And then the second S is like an ice world, maybe? Kind of neat. Very low res. I like the idea. I feel like that would be easy to recreate with like vector graphics or something. It's cool. Exactly correct. Wow. So, you know, it communicates what it means to, so that's good. That's a win. So yeah, I think this reveal blocks deal is causing me some pain here. It's prior bound stuff. I think what I need is to stop using a separate cursor chords and cursor offset. I think I want a single value that's like a vector 4, and it's like the XYZ of the cursor, and then the W is like the face. I think I want to do that rather than actually store these as separate things. That doesn't really solve any problems, though. That would just be interesting. You'll probably have to remake it. You do like the idea, kind of want a logo, especially if you do start streaming at some point. You're not sure if you'd stick with the name when you start. It'll be a while. You got to figure it out. You're going to do some lurking, be productive Boolean? That sounds good. Thank you. Thanks for the lurk. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's a good point, Sapphire. My original like game dev studio name that I used in like a lifetime ago, I never really did anything with it. This was when I was doing like Unity hobbyist stuff. I ended up making that logo, and it was like, it ended up being like a quirk. The whole icon ended up being like a weird quirk of like this like vector graphic stuff I was trying to do. So it was like the sort of thing that I could never recreate. Because it was like this really warped, strange thing, but it happened as like a side effect of something else I was trying to do, and I was like, that's so cool, we're gonna use that. It looked like a kind of very stylized, almost like bloodshot eye. It was very cool. It was a very cool logo. And I was like, I literally could never recreate this if I needed to. So yeah, that's definitely an issue when you lose the assets or something like that. That can be really painful. Hey, when that happens, yeah, when you make something cool and you're like, I'll never be able to recreate this. It's a shame. All right. So we got to figure out where we're going to. Yeah, so so right now we're like hard coding in the cursor offset. We need to like, we need to not do that. I mean, for now, we could just set them to be the same thing if there isn't an offset. So like we can kind of get around it, but we really need to figure out how to prevent this like accidental duplicate block placement. Oh, wait. So we mark the sync buffer. No, we clear the hidden blocks. That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, we're doing something here. Doing something somewhere along here that's causing this weird duplication. Bounds. Bounds is a new minimum anchor chords. Game not input a cursor offset. Yeah, so I think what's happening is we're jumping to this offset as soon as we place a block, which shouldn't be happening, honestly. But it is. I need to figure out why. Kind of show what's happening. It's gonna be hard to see, but I'll show it. So here's what's happening now. So right now the initial block has to be at 0, 0, which is not good, but right now that's a constraint that I can live with. So if we place a block there, so it looks like a block was placed here where the highlight is. And you can see based on where the cursor is, it knows like what face we're on, even though we're like crossing tile boundaries, it can like figure out what face we're supposed to be on. But what's happening is that this block, this additional block on top of the highlighted block was communicated as having been placed, which is why it's kind of causing a shift here. So it thinks there's this ghost block, which is why the offset block is like, oh, you could build off of that. But you can't see it because the system was also like, it also cleared the block visually as soon as it was placed. So it's this ghost block that exists. Very strange. This is also kind of weird, the fact that this happens. I gotta figure out what's going on here, too. It shouldn't do that. It actually shouldn't shift when I do this. It also shouldn't do this either. Oh, I know what it's doing. It's clamping. Okay. Yeah, I said I needed to get rid of some of the clamps. And that's why. Yeah, we need to prevent this ghost block. What's really weird is if I place another block, that original ghost block is gone. And that's because it resyncs from the visual blocks. There's two buffers. There's called the preview blocks, which are these blocks, the blocks that you can see. And then there's another set of blocks called the settled blocks. And you need to have two different sets because for like double buffering reasons, so that we could have a task that's like, so that we have instant, instant feedback when we're like messing around like this. I'm like considering where to place the next block. We need to have instant feedback. But if you're running another system, like a flood fill system that's going to take multiple frames, you need another buffer of blocks that you can run that against. So we're essentially double buffering the blocks, but there's something super weird that's happening. So yeah, let's start. I also need to start recording like a block minimum or maximum. Maybe we'll just have a bounds component or something, or an offset, maybe a position. I don't know. I want to be able to start a block placement anywhere, and then wherever you start, that becomes the minimum for the block space. I'm gonna do that too. Sapphire, you have another potential name you could use. You even have a custom icon for it. The name is Cybernetic Parrot. You'll post a screenshot in the Discord? Yeah, do so. That sounds good. Cybernetic Parrot sounds fun. Cybernetic Parrot. It's fun because the way we pronounce that, it rhymes. It's not spelled rhyme, but at least like in my dialect. Cybernetic Parrot. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Magoo, best snow you've had in years. You went out in shorts, t-shirt, and sandals. Best time ever. I would freeze to death. Random Journey, is this a name for your game? An important consideration, Sapphire. Don't make the mistake I did. Don't name your channel and your game and your online identity / brand the same thing. Don't do what I did. All right, so we're going to move to like a freeform. We're going to get rid of these constraints. We need to add some kind of a way to track the block minimum and maximum here. So we're going to stop clamping this. We're just going to stop clamping it completely. And what is the consequence of that? I think it makes sense to say something like, if actually, we don't need to do any kind of bounds checking. What's nice is our 3D block buffers have their own. They have a get or default, which they use by default. So any out of bounds checks just gives you a default value returned, which is good because the default value is empty. Shenanigans. Might not be terrible to add a very simple debug layer that just simply outlines the exact tile you're hovering over and any other useful details. Maybe. The thing about that is because this is all tile map layer stuff, it would use the same logic and the same system. Like, unless I actually wanted to do like line drawing and stuff, it would be functionally the same as the tile map drawing. But this is also from the guy who was like, what if you actually just had cubes so you could raycast for real? What if you had to... Yeah, that way you can be confident your issues aren't related to the tile tile atlas, etc. every time these bugs creep up. Yeah, that's the problem. Is the debug drawer would probably use the exact same system unless I wanted to implement some kind of line drawing tool. Magoo, you can't feel your toes? Lord. Warm them up by the fire. You don't... Let's not get frostbitten toes here on this, the like first full week of the year. It's a good idea, Nanigans, and I actually do want to waste more time building some more complex debug layers because this is a problem. Like, it's a problem that I can't like just scrutinize the block buffers very easily. Like, if we were doing this just straight up in Godot, the Godot stack tracing is really good, and I could just, like, scrutinize the objects in the remote tree and, like, figure out their stuff. I could, like, scrutinize the buffer and be like, what's in here? But our weird entity component system deal is not done in such a way that it's easy to do that out of the box. So I need to get some better debug tools for sure. I just don't know if that's exactly the debug tool I want. All right, so we've removed any kind of clamping. We still want this clamping here. And actually, all we need to do is we can say... Actually, should we just do vector3i.max? Actually, what happens if I call max from here? I don't have that. Okay, that's a static function. Yeah, we'll just do a static function style. Because we do want to stop the... Pick the max. Oh, we want min. Pick the min. Actually, we could just say, does block.space contain this coordinate? Is that has an implicit clamp in it. Let's just do that. We just say, does block.space.contains this vector? That's easy. Magoo, who else here uses the caps lock on all the time and shift for non-caps? That is crazy behavior. All right, we're heading into ads. Crazy? I was crazy once. That's what you're saying? I just think of the Dawn of War, like, Chaos Space Marine, like, voice that's just like, sanity is for the weak. All right, so this should be fine. We've gotten rid of all the input clamping. What we should do now, we should change this. So cursor chords is going to be... cursor chords is going to be this, I guess. This is where the Z level stuff is a little confusing to me. I guess we'll monitor and maintain some kind of Z level. We'll like maintain it somewhere in here. so that there's some stability and you don't just automatically relock to the back every time you mouse off of an object. It'll like remember the Z level maybe. That'd be pretty good. You don't have to worry about that right now though. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of the cursor offset. And actually, we're just gonna turn this into a ternary operator. It'll be a vector 4i, and that vector 4i is going to be mapping.xy 0. Actually, we just passed this in because I just want 0, 0 for now. Does this have an implicit... Cannot convert source type vector 4. Oh, yeah, that's fine. This is going to be a vector 4 now, which is weird. That's what we're going to do. That way we can use the W coordinate for a direction. Shenanigans. It is starting to be a generational thing that people don't even use the shift key anymore. They just toggle caps on and off. That's how it works on smartphones. Oh, that's interesting. I never thought of that. Hey, Corolla. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. Hope you're having a nice Thursday. How's it going? All right, so this is a vector 4 now. It's going to have the standard 3 coordinates for the position, and then the fourth, the W, is like a direction enum value. And I'm going to get rid of these. And then I need to find some kind of way to convert this into a boundary thing. That's something I'm a little concerned about, but you know, I think we can actually do it. We can actually build it. Sapphire, you find yourself never using caps lock, even when typing a bunch of caps, you just hold shift. Caps lock only gets turned on accidentally. Yeah, that's true for me. Look at where caps lock is on my keyboard. It is beneath the X. And where the caps lock should be, there is an escape. Crazy. So yeah, that only happens on accident. You rarely use caps locks. Caps lock ran it. A lot of Vim people rebind escape to caps to switch modes. Wow. Yeah, you have a weird keyboard. It's not a weird keyboard. It's the same keyboard as the Primogen. Let's call it what it is. I'd just like to say I'm pretty sure I bought this before he did. No, it's weird, but in good news, everyone territory, it like totally cured whatever keyboard RSI I previously had. So it works. It's all about thumb clusters. Fixing keyboard RSI seems to be all about thumb clusters. Corolla, you use a Kinesis? Yeah, this is the Advantage 360. I previously had the older single Kinesis Advantage that was like not split. That was like a single keyboard. I like that a lot less. I really like split keyboards. I don't think keyboards should be one piece. You wouldn't exactly use the Primogen as your argument to say something isn't weird. Shenanigans. I don't know. He's a pillar of the community. It's not like I get all my programming news from the stand-up. Split keyboard gang. Yeah, Corolla. Yeah, split keyboard is so good. It's all about having different, like, I like my keyboard angled like this. Like, I like having the left one here angled harder and having the right one here angled the opposite. Like, it's maybe not 90 degrees, but there's at least like a 45-degree angle I use. It's one of those things. There's no absolutes in ergonomics. It's all very individual. But yeah, this one's nice. It's got like it's got these removable magnetic wrist pads that I'm supposed to wash occasionally. Really nice. But do I order my coffee via SSH? No, you're right. You're right. I'm not cool enough for terminal coffee. Their coffee's expensive, yo. $22 for a 12-ounce bag of coffee is a lot. I know a little bit about coffee, and that's expensive. That's a little too rich for my blood. Magoo, you need a dirty cherry 24-function keyboard. You'll have to try one at some point, Sapphire. Yeah, if you have wrist pain, the keyboard and mouse, you got to try some stuff. You got to try some stuff until, you know, until you're good to go. Did you say terminal coffee? I did say terminal coffee. That's their brand. All right, how many errors did I cause by removing that global? A lot. The answer is a lot. Luckily, they're all new systems. This is super helpful. This is going to be really good, though. I already see how helpful this is going to be. But we're just going to we need to add to-dos to all of this. Actually, this could totally be like... I actually think I know what to do here, but I'm not going to do it right now. Coffee addict new level. Must be killer coffee. Yeah. That's not what they mean by terminal, but yeah. In all seriousness, you should get a more ergonomic setup. Pretty sure you're already starting to get early onset arthritis. Yeah, be careful. I still haven't figured out my mouse wrist stuff. I have one of those silly little Carpio wrist rests things that's all black, so no one's gonna be able to see it. That helps. My problem is I was using a vertical mouse, which also basically makes my RSI go away. But I don't use it day to day because I need the horizontal scroll wheel. I got a mouse with a horizontal scroll wheel, and like I can't go back. I just can't. I can't go back from like a working standpoint. What I need is a vertical mouse that has a scroll wheel up on top, like by the thumb. I need a horizontal scroll wheel that sits on top of my mouse. If anyone could make that, If anyone, Keychron, if you're listening, I would love a sponsorship. And if you could, please design a vertical mouse with a horizontal scroll wheel on top of the mouse. Remove the like AI button that everyone's putting on the top of their mouse and just make it a horizontal scroll wheel. Terminal coffee. Yeah, it could mean so many things. Oh, Sapphire, you have one of the Carpio things for your keyboard hand? That's interesting. I can see that. I can see that working. Mine doesn't have the wrist strap, so mine just kind of sits loose on the desk, which seems fine. But yeah, I really need a vertical mouse that has a horizontal scroll wheel on top of it. Hey, the ant. How's it going? Ergo, your fingers on your right hand are messed up. They bend weird. Ooh. Yeah, I know people who have like hypermobility problems. It's not good. It's not a good thing. All right. I know I'm adding all these to-dos. I might actually fix this right now because I'm thinking about how I want to do this. So how do you get a vector 3i? And in fact, if I know that I need to do this, what do? I think what I do is I say game.input.cursor coords.xyz, and then I think I say plus block.getCoords. And then what I do is I say block.face game.input.cursor coords.w. And I think this is literally how we do this. So if the W is 0, you just get the original cursor coords back. But if the W is not 0, then you get a new block coordinate that is an offset from the initial coordinates. And I think that's how we're going to do it. So anyone that cares can read the W and use it to modify the XYZ. I think that's how we're going to do this. So I'm actually just going to convert this to that now. Because I know the cutaway system is going to care about this. So I'm just going to fix this now. My mistake was trying to do this change gradually and not like rip everything apart. I'm ending up ripping everything apart anyway. And if I had done that from the beginning, I don't think we would have seen that bug. Rarely is doing less work result in less work being done. Less work is usually more work. It's my experience. All right, well, that fixes that system. What do we got going on? Oh, the old systems are busted. That's fine. The old systems, I should honestly start deleting. I'm going to do a big project cleanup. Project file cleanup soon. Probably not tonight, but soon. How's it going, Ant? Thanks for the stretch. I also got to start standing up while I work. It's just very tiring. I used to stand all day for work back when I, like, worked in retail. Which I did for a decade. But man, you get one work from home job. It's all gone within a year. You're good, tired but good. Same. I think that's just the way. Not being able to sit at your job for the full day. You couldn't stand that. Oh my god, Nix. Pun, I assume intended. There are a bunch of those like meme fan edits of Star Trek, and they always do the Geordi one where he's like, Data, I'm your friend, and I'm not just gonna stand around and let you do this. Or we're not just gonna stand here and let you do this. And then they just show him immediately sitting down. Good stuff. All right, these I'm just gonna convert. Hey, the ant, you pronounce the word GIF like something totally unpronounceable. Is that legitimate pronunciation, like notation? Also, 5 stream streak. Good job. I appreciate that. Thank you for hanging. That's like a week. That's like 1 week. Thanks for hanging 5, as the surfer community says. You know what I'm going to do after this? I'm going to make a cup of tea. I have this hunk of challah bread that's just been sitting around. I think it's time. I'm ready for a snack. But there's still some more game dev to do. I'm not done yet. Not out of the woods yet. All right. That's most of the errors solved. Okay, now we just have to deal with the actual problems here, which are these 2 systems. You don't think pound is in the IPA? Yeah, I don't know the IPA. Oh my god, the ant. I'm not gonna repeat that. That's pretty good though. So these fields are just going away. Oh wait, this just works. Sick. Okay, yeah, here's where I was expecting all the bugs. Or not the bugs, the errors. Right, now we gotta work through this. This is annoying. This I have to rethink how the bounds, how we use axis-aligned bounding boxes to constrain and track input over multiple frames, because I feel like that is causing this problem to a big extent. Why do I do this? Shouldn't this just be false by default? Can I not do that? Ah, I see. Fair enough. All right. I'm falling behind. Rhiannon Journey. You're going to light up as soon as work is done. Today's been a hell of a day. Third party you rely on changed their software without giving you a warning. Now you're just getting things updated to work with it. I love that. I love that. I love when someone upstream changes something without telling anybody. I had to deal with that multiple times. He's stronger than a cup of tea. How about a cup of terminal coffee? You just wanted to pop in? All right, take it easy, the ant. Appreciate you. All right, so now the systems that care can do this. Is it worth setting this so we don't do this like a million times? Probably. Oh, actually, I guess some systems don't care. So I can't actually just define it. I gotta be a little more specific. Here I can do stuff though. So yeah, like the clipboard. I don't actually know if the clipboard is gonna care about that. I'm just gonna define them here. I'm gonna say vector3i cursor coords equals input dot cursor coords dot xyz plus block dot get coords block dot base. Ew. There's another cursor coords defined somewhere. Where? Where is below? Oh, right there. That conflicts. Insane. Okay. You know, maybe this is where the safety thing can come into play. Maybe not. Mr. Magoo, someone has some explaining to do. Yeah. Just say that in your best. Oh my god, I forgot the name of the other person in I Love Lucy. What's her husband's name? Ricky? Yeah, Ricky Ricardo. You have some explaining to do. Hey, Mardicus. How's it going? I just want to let you know that I'm Mardicus. I'm sure you get that all the time. But that's fun. I'm having fun with that. How's it going? Welcome in. Welcome into the chat. I'm the first? Awesome. Love it. They just call me a classic man. All right, where's this stupid? Here it is. Everyone thinks you're the Pokemon Maractus. If it helps, I haven't heard of that one. I am familiar with the original, like, 100 Pokemon. That's about it. But yeah, welcome in. We're working on my isometric FTL-like game. We're doing it in Godot here. We're doing some refactoring here for a new input system that we've implemented. That's like a really neat, like, fake raycast, where we raycast into our tile map layers, our nested tile map layers. You saw FTL and got FTL like you got intrigued? Awesome. Yeah, we're doing something a little more vertical. And it's got this kind of pseudo isometric angle. And so we have a bunch of systems to handle that. Because it ends up being a 3D game that's presented 2D, where you can shift between different vertical layers. And it used to be that you would hard code the layer that you were on and you'd go up and down different layers, but I'm trying to implement like a ray casting system where like it figures out what block and what face your cursor is over, like in 3D. Sounds cool. Thanks. Yeah, it should be fun. We're still very deep in tools development, but I have hope. I'm excited about it. Sounds cool. Also difficult. That you hit the nail on the head there. You said y'all ain't see Spartacus. I think most people have not seen Spartacus. Certainly not the Kirk Douglas one. People would be like, what do you mean, like the John Hannah version? Like, no. Hey, Scotty McDuber. How's it going? I think the number of people who even know who Kirk Douglas is rapidly falling. Marticus, you're debating doing Godot. You're checking that out now. You tried doing your own engine in Golang. Oh, snap. Golang ain't doing it in the game dev for you. That's interesting. Why were you curious? Why did you pick Golang to start? Is it like a familiarity thing? Because that's why I'm in C#, even though I'm in Godot. If you're doing a 2D game, I can't recommend Godot more highly than what I'm currently doing, which is recommending it highly. If you're doing 3D, I think there's a more open question as to what the correct thing to do is. But yeah, Godot is good. I enjoy Godot a lot. We're kind of doing something kind of weird for this project because, like you said, it's kind of difficult what I'm trying to do here. So we're kind of doing things a little weird, but... Oh, man, I can't do it like this. To define these lower. This needs to be defined like down here. Because like the block eraser mode wouldn't care about the offset coordinate. It would just lock in the actual cursor coordinates. It wouldn't care about the offset. Whereas the block placement very much does care about the offset. Oh yeah, I guess we can just do it like this. Marticus, you're originally a Java and C# dev. You're liking Golang so much for your applications, you wanted to try a game. The language isn't set up for easy object systems. Or you're just missing the viewpoint. It's a new language for you, sort of. Ah, I see. Yeah, I'm not a big object-oriented guy. Although Godot, default Godot is definitely written in that direction. It doesn't have to be. There's nothing really stopping you from favoring composition over inheritance. But it's definitely out of the box, like a very object-oriented thing. That might not be what you mean by object systems. Okay, the clipboard stuff, we're going to continue to just kind of like not think about the clipboard, because the clipboard is going to make this kind of complicated. I'm gonna punt on the clipboard here. We're only going to worry about hover, select, and place inputs for now. Isn't Godot OOP? Kind of. Yes. But like, you could totally use the component pattern in Godot, and you could compose your Godot objects using like nodes, like using child nodes. And I think that's kind of neat. I think that's better than just strict inheritance. So you can at least use the component pattern in Godot. But yeah, it's Marticus, you're missing generics in Go to create modular stuff. Yeah, I use C# a lot. I'm not a I like generics. We definitely use generics in our entity component system. That's kind of how we get away with what we can do in our entity component system. It's a mix of like generics and like span. Playing with span to like recast memory. Reinterpret memory, excuse me. You mean you thought the component pattern was OOP, but you guess there is differences. The component pattern does rely on objects. It's like a spectrum, right? And yeah, Godot out of the box is very object-oriented. But like, if you look at the underlying servers that power Godot, like the render server and stuff like that, and like the physics server, they aren't really. But yeah, in user land and like end user land, it's definitely like the out-of-the-box way that they kind of set you up to think about it. Because yeah, I don't have a problem with lowercase o objects. It's the like uppercase O object, right? But yeah, you're not wrong. There's ways to get around it. The way I'm getting it around it is I'm just not really doing any of my simulation in the scene tree. That's kind of how I'm getting around it. The scene tree for me is just a place that I put things that need to be rendered and or that need to be like, you know, listening for inputs. All right, so the cursor offset doesn't exist anymore. So when we do this, what we need to do, it's a cursor. You're gonna have to do that as well. You're making a factory game. Have to is a strong word, but I like it. I like it. I don't like the whole web of references thing that you get when you start to have a really complicated scene tree and all this stuff. I like ECS. I like a very systems heavy approach. I'm definitely not in the right language to do ECS. Oh yeah, Rhiannon Journey's calling out the Discord. The Discord would be a great place. If I would love to see the kind of stuff you're doing, I would love to hear about somebody's factory game they're making in Godot as like a first-time user. Even if you just switch to another engine after, I would love to keep tabs on your progress. And if you have questions about Godot, there's a lot of Godot devs in our community. You thought Godot was ECS like Unity? Unity is ECS in a very roundabout way. Unity is more like the component pattern than it is like a true ECS, right? Because the update function is in each individual object. Like if each individual object has an update function, it's really not an ECS. But you're all right. It is composed that way. Like there is an entity, aka the game object, and you like attach and remove components from it. Unity has dots for more ECS stuff. Yeah, Unity has an ECS in it. I like it. That heavily influenced me, the Unity dots ECS. They've kind of walked back from a lot of the more radical things they were thinking about doing with it. And it's kind of become just like a backing system for like the game objects, which is fine. But yeah, that influenced me and definitely has had a strong impact on the way my own ECS is made. Rhiannon, you'd also like to see factory game progress? Yeah, exactly. Me too. Nanigans. In your opinion, OOP is a lot more suited for game dev than most other types of software because games are literally filled many, many complex theoretical objects that all need to interact with each other. I think up to a certain scale, it is good for that. I think there is a certain kind of game that breaks down when it's done that way, but I think generally it is. I'm not trying to get into a big, framework war. I actually disagree with any framework with like capital letters. Like, I like to pick and, you know, I think you should use the right tool for the right job rather than just like throw away all your tools except one particular tool and be like, I'm going to solve all my problems with just a hammer because I prefer hammer-oriented development. I think as long as we're not doing that, we're fine, right? And we can all be Godot users together. Shenanigans. All in all, your preferred style of things is to have data, have functions that operate on that data based on input, and have a rendering pipeline that handles how that data is displayed, etc. Yeah, it sounds like you're a little like me. You like decoupling. It sounds like we both prefer a little bit of a more data-driven approach. And that's what I prefer. To me, I use ECS for like organizational reasons, not because I'm like a performance junkie. It's just kind of like how I like thinking about the data. It's definitely hard to do certain things this way. All right, we're gonna try this. I'm like a little concerned about this, about how this is gonna work. I don't think I'm actually gonna fix anything this way by just doing this. But I think this is going to help going forward. So like the place cares about that block offset, but the select doesn't. So select is not going to be driven that way. I think this is kind of a silly way to do it, but you know, that's what we're going to do here. It's definitely how you try to write your own little ECSs. Yeah, I think it's neat. I definitely prefer systems processing over like processing per object. I like data-oriented design. I like separating the data from the functionality. Yeah, none of this is going to help solve our fundamental problem here. But I'm hoping this is going to get us in the right direction here. Okay, I think I solved most of the runtime errors here, if not all of them. However, I don't think that's going to make an actual difference to the weird ghost block thing that we're observing. Shenanigans, you promised you're not going back to redoing your game in TypeScript again? Good stuff. Okay, so this is good. This is weird, but this is good. And then if I put a block here. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, there's this ghost block is still here. You can kind of see, because instead of appearing behind the current block, like it should be like this, if we go to the other side, it's like, oh, look at me. Actually, it's really interesting that that's how this is happening. That actually shouldn't be happening that way. Similarly, this shouldn't be happening. Oh, is maybe the ghost block here? Okay, it's there. I see. It's not where I thought it was. This is kind of working the way we want it to. Oh, neat. I can even, it even let me build this like wall. It's kind of neat. I gotta understand why the hover is not working, is not like updating itself I don't understand that. All right, where's the invisible block now? Okay, it's down there for some reason. It's because I placed a block here. So yeah, we're double tapping, and it's causing this weird ghost block to appear every time we do it. I need to figure out how to stop that. But however, this is kind of what we want. Kind of neat. Kind of working the way we would like. Oh, it works? It kind of works. Time to create an inventory. Ooh, good luck, Marticus. Inventories are tough and complicated. Oh, thank you for the follow. Good luck there. All right, so we need to figure out why this ghost block appears. That's the struggle. That's the struggle for now. Why is there an invisible block that's appearing? And it's only invisible because it's being cleared from the preview block list as soon as it's being added to the settled block list. I mean buffer, but whatever. So how do we protect against that? It really shouldn't be possible because we should only be syncing the buffers when we lift the mouse up. And by lift, I mean like we lift off the like right click. Like we're right clicking, we're like doing stuff, we're like click dragging. And then when we lift off the right click, that's when it does a sync. But it's syncing it and clearing it at the same moment, which is interesting. And I think that's what I don't understand. Marticus? Nah, you just slap an object with a texture, then some slot objects that can hold a value. You're going to have to create the items. You make it so it loads the good texture, then make sure it's clickable and draggable, make the items disappear. Oh my god, this is going to be a task you regret. Please end your suffering. Yeah, this is, you're going to get a lot of, if you're doing this in Godot, it's time for you to get familiar with control nodes, which I absolutely hate. But they're good. Time to get familiar with control nodes. The magical world of control node hierarchies. Hey, Blue Pin Studio, thank you for the follow. How's it going? Happy Thursday. What are you up to? All right, so how are we doing this? How are we doing a task which is only meant to be run once on a single frame? How is that happening multiple times? And you know what? I have a history. I have an input history. I could probably figure out a way of debugging it using that input history. There's probably a way to do that. It's probably what I should be doing. So I'm going to look through this place. Yeah, I think this is happening because there's no longer a system. Normally, we wouldn't pass along a command if the cursor coords didn't functionally change. Like if we were functionally looking at the same tile. The problem is we care about like where within the tile you are, and that can actually change a lot depending on whether you're on the left side or the right side of the tile. And the fact that I removed that safety is why we're dealing with this. However, I don't totally... There's like a gap between that, the consequence of that, and the effect we're seeing. And I just need to close that gap. Hope everyone's having a fine day. I appreciate you all hanging out here, especially all of you lurkers on the YouTube side. We're having a good time. YouTube has been holding it down. Yeah, I love it. That's what we're supposed to be doing here. This is supposed to be like a chill co-working stream, you know? Just gotta keep the good vibes, you know? Not that you have to be working while you watch this stream, you know? But if you are, I hope it's going well. And if you're just chilling, that's great. All right, so if we go through this block place process, it's not possible, as far as I know, for multiple end calls to be coming in. It's probably worth confirming that. But as far as I can tell, that's not something that should be able to happen. Let's confirm that really quickly. Because if that's happening, we have a totally different problem. I'm going to say command.next.step. And then here we're just going to say command.step. If we see end show up more than once, then we have a totally different problem. Where's Mr. Magoo? They added too many reactions to the live stream alert. You can't add any more. I didn't even know that was possible. Oh my lord. Yeah, Mr. Magoo. No, that couldn't have been Mr. Magoo. That's McDuber. You're mixing up your mix. Your mix. McDuber's still here. I think Mr. Magoo might be gone. They got frostbite. Hey, Commander Apollo. How's it going? Happy Thursday. Hello, Digital Iliad and friends. Hello. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, McDuber's in here too, probably somewhere. Time to add Lua scripting to your game? Ooh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Going great. Happy Thursday. Yes. Lua scripting sounds rad. That's very Hades of you. That's a great way to add like mod support to a game. All right, quick debug test here. So all we're looking for is to see whether we get multiple commands to end the placement at the same time. We'll do this. We'll just do a couple. Doesn't really matter. 3 seems fine. Now we're gonna go look into the debug. Try to make sense of it all. You know what I should have done? Oh, wait, hold on a second. I put the debug in the wrong place. I nest my switch statements, which, oh, no, I don't. Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, don't judge me. I have nested switch statements. I don't feel good about it. I would like to do something else. I'm thinking about switching. If we switch away from a command pattern for inputs, I'm thinking of doing it with like an entity tag or something like that. The only thing is I don't need multiple input entities. Using entities for input is like really, really weird. It's not a good thing to do. Probably end up just using a singleton if we move away from the command pattern. I like the command pattern for this. It's just becoming a bit of a pain. Commander, Hades is Lewis scripting. That's awesome. I think it does. I'm pretty sure that's how they implemented it. That might even still be true for Hades too. But yeah, it's a super cool way to make a very moddable game. Commander Apollo. Anyways, Mr. Fire Truck has to be fully moddable, otherwise the game is utter trash. That's going to be true for my game as well. Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to make enough content for this. I mean, maybe it's not going to be fully moddable. I don't know if I'm going to allow arbitrary code execution, you know? But content-wise, I'm going to be very heavily dependent on user-generated content. A solo dev, there's no way for me to make enough content for my game. So I'm just going to try to make very compelling systems. Marticus, data-driven development so mods could be a thing is what you like. Yeah, that's a great reason to do it. Have you considered FOSS for my game? FOSS has the word free right at the front. Eventually, I'm going to need to ask money for it. I haven't considered that for this. It's not that I'm, like, terribly precious about the source code. Like, I'm programming, like, basically the whole game in public view. Like, the repo is private. But part of the reason not to do it that way is just, like, I don't want to manage a public project. Like, that's part of the reason why I'm a solo dev. But who knows? Who knows? In the long run, we might do something different. There will always be a free version of this game available. So I might get to the point where I end up forking that and opening that up. I have a roadmap. We can talk about it because honestly, my mental fortitude right now is fairly low. But like overall, the kind of plan is like this. We are having an alpha. We're working our way towards some kind of alpha MVP launch. We're going very slowly. We're still working on the tile block editor, which is like pretty much all we did last year was work on the tile block editor, and we're still doing it this year. I would like to be done soon. But the tile block editor is very important because it makes a lot of foundational assumptions about what we're going to do for the next part, which is the shipboard simulation of like what happens on the ship. Like how does power move through the walls? How do crew members move through the space? How does this work? How does oxygen, you know, move through the compartments? Like we want to get to this, but a lot of this shipboard simulation is dependent on the assumptions we make while we're building out the editor. So we're working towards this left side column, which is an alpha MVP launch, which will be free on itch.io because I very much believe on a game being free during development. I think that's a very strong thing to do, especially if it's a game like this. Dealing with people can be a lot. Yeah, true. I would like that the MVP launch coincides with some kind of Steam demo. Well, I would like it to be the Steam demo, I guess. And I would like to have a living demo on Steam. I'm not going to... I don't... That won't be early access. It would be like a demo on like a separate Steam page, probably. So we're working our way through what I consider the 4 key functions or features, which is our tile block editor, our shipboard simulation, a scenario editor, which is how you write things like you jump into a star system, it's an asteroid field, there's a ship waiting to ambush you. They beam aboard like a boarding party or something. And there will also be what I call a 9-box battlefield, which is going to be a very abstracted board gamey battlefield where your ship is in the center and there's a slot on each side, aka the 9-box, where another ship could be, or a, you know, whatever point of interest, like maybe a little space station or a listening post or a little moon, or I don't know, whatever. Something there that's in the foreground. So this is the MVP. Once we have all of this and we can start working on content, eventually we'll get to this alpha full release, which will include a campaign editor. This is the thing that would be like, this is how you build the run. You know, a campaign is what I consider a run, because this is also kind of a roguelike game. I am not going to use that term. I call it an FTL-like. But an FTL is called roguelike, so you know, people can argue amongst themselves. So there will be a campaign editor. There needs to be a campaign simulation because there's stuff happening on that level. Obviously, we would be working on scenario content and like run progression, which I guess run progression is part of campaign simulation. Actually, run, I don't know. I don't know why I put run progression there. I don't understand it as much. Maybe these actually need to move like this. Maybe run progression is part of the campaign simulation. Like that. Maybe it should look like this. Yeah. I love Obsidian. This is aligned, or it was aligned until I just unaligned it. How do I get this aligned? Why is this fundamentally unaligned? I'm gonna worry about that later. Anyway, so this... Oh, we're starting into an ad. I'm gonna still explain this. You're a better person. You find simulation stuff fascinating. You would have done that first. You love designing board games and board game adjacent things. Yeah, we're taking a somewhat abstract approach. This isn't Cosmeteer or whatever. You're not gonna be flying your ship around freely. It's gonna be more like FTL. It's gonna be more abstracted. Arneo, FTL-like, roguelike, Star Trek-like, Homer's Odyssey-like. Definitely something we're gonna like. Oh, I get it. It's definitely something you're gonna like. Oh, you're very sweet, Arneo. Thank you. Anyway, so we do all of this stuff. We make our content. We get some kind of basic, what I consider a completed alpha version. That alpha release is gonna continue to be our Steam demo. It will continue to be available for free on itch.io. And at some point, that'll go gold, right? That will be like, that's good. And so, like, we were talking about free and open source software. Honestly, this version of the game, I might eventually make free and open source, because why not, right? However, eventually we're going to hit some kind of paid beta, and that's when we're going to go into Steam Early Access. And that's when we're going to start working on campaign content. And more importantly... Not meta progression. Meta progression is important, but Steam Workshop. That's when we're going to incorporate like mod support and stuff, because I am not going to be hosting that stuff myself because the liability is too crazy. So Steam Workshop is our gateway to mod support. And in fact, I might add that to this. I might add a card that says mod support. I might say full mod support. Steam Workshop is what provides us with mod support. And so we'll be in that for a while. And that's when I'll start asking for money, because we'll be hooked into the Steam Workshop and whatever. And then eventually we'll go gold. We'll go to full price. We'll come out of Steam Early Access. I have a thing called the movie ending, which we'll talk about some other time, which is the idea that if a campaign is like a season of like, or multiple seasons of like Star Trek, a TV show or something, like the original series or TNG or whatever, I want to have some kind of movie ending, which is like Star Trek 2 or like, you know, first contact or whatever. I want there to be like the gang gets back together, or like some kind of cool big cinematic like final adventure like that you can plop at the end and be like the game is done. So yeah, this is a long roadmap. And don't worry about Lo-Fi Flyby. I already have a side project I want to work on. So that's kind of what we're talking about. Fangirling over the roadmap. Nice. Where are you now on the roadmap? Hey, Shanzo. We're here. We're pretty early. We're here, and then we're transitioning towards here. We're kind of in this area. So we're still very early. And Lo-Fi Flyby is going to be a game like. Yeah, Lo-Fi Flyby is going to be... I was thinking about that today. I'm going to be like, am I going to have to start a different episode numbering for Lo-Fi Flyby? I don't think I will. That's like a game we're making inside of our game. 6 seasons in a movie. Exactly, Arneo. Marticus, you're getting to see the progress going forward. I would love that. Thank you. Sweet. What are you making? We're making an FTL-like game. So we're making kind of a Star Trek style starship management game. I think of it as kind of like a mashup of like FTL and like RimWorld, because it's going to be slower. It's going to be a slower game than FTL. We're at first season pre-production. Yeah, very much pre-production. We're making this kind of isometric 2D kind of thing, Shanzo. Thanks for hopping in, saying hi. Hope you're having a good Thursday. Yeah, that's kind of the overview of where we're thinking. This is like a long-term project. We're about 2 years into it. And we have probably at least, 6-7 years left to go on like the full arc. This is like a long-term commitment. I have that little side project, Lo-Fi Flyby, because I'd love to test the market a little bit. I'd love to like get a vibe check and launch something in like a couple of years rather than like, however long. So we're going to be doing other things. We also do a lot of game jams. So this channel is not just about this. We also do, I like doing a lot of game jams. We did 3 last year and 2 the year before that. So I would like to do 4 game jams this year. We got 2 coming up in the spring. And I've got 1 in mind for the summer. And then maybe another in mind for the fall. So we're going to have a busy year. It's going to be good stuff. Sounds fun. You have an indie group? And I'm assuming by the way. Oh, no, sorry. That's like streamer speak. That's me like roping in chat. That's like what do they call it? That's like an absolution of guilt thing where I'm like roping you all into this so that it's not just my fault. No, this is a solo project. Like I do the code. This is my art. It's not great, but it's mine. I'll be doing all the sound and stuff and all the writing. This is a solo project, which is why this discussion started by us talking about mod support. Because this game is going to be a very mod-friendly game because there's no way I'm going to be able to, make all the content myself. So we're building the game from the ground up to be very moddable. Like we're working on a block editor that will let us build the ships. And like that runs in-game. That's an in-game editor. It's not like you don't need to have Godot to use it. So we're trying to make a lot of architectural decisions. Hey, Fusionist. Marticus, you feel very Spartacus now? Yeah, exactly. We're all the dev. I'm Spartacus. I'm Digital Iliad. No, I'm Digital Iliad. How's it going? Oh, we're having a good time. We're having a fun time today. I'm still hunting down this bug. I know where it is. I still don't totally understand why it is. And how it is, but we're still running it down. And we're having a good time. We're kind of chatting it up. Got a lot of new faces today. How are you doing, Fusionist? I know we just talked like yesterday, but Nix, after all this talk, you feel Smarticus. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Bugs, the bane of dev's existence. Yeah. You're all right. All right. All right, Fusionist. I see you're all right, and I raise you an all right. Same here as well. You took a chill day. Good. You've been very talkative tonight. Yeah. There's a lot of people here. There's a lot of fine people here. All right, Jacob. Good. Commander, you built a cool level editor for your driving game. You'll have to post about it and share your work on the Discord. Yeah, please do. Please do. Nanigans, you're going to clock off, get something to eat, work on some of your other stuff. Good stream today. Take care. Thank you, Nanigans. It's always a good stream when you're here. Take it easy. Thank you all. This is one of my bigger streams that I've reached organically. I mean, we got our raid from Starlight Lacuna. Thank you. Appreciate you, Starlight. And anyone who hung around from that, but we're having a good time today. All right, so we were going to do a quick debug. We're trying to confirm whether we're receiving duplicate command.arg.ends, which is just like the command is our, that's our command pattern input class. We can step through the command. The commands appear as arrays of strings. Not arrays of strings, but you know what I mean. Like, we're not arrays of chars, but arrays of string groups. So, like, we can step through. So it can be like edit, tool, place, begin, end, or whatever. Like, so we theoretically shouldn't be able to receive multiple end commands at once. And I don't think that's happening, but I just very briefly want to check because we have this ghost block thing. We have these phantom blocks that are appearing. Which means there's a kind of a weird thing happening between the preview blocks and the settled blocks. So if we place a block and then, yeah, so there's this phantom block here. You can see because our new input model, which is what we're testing, you can go cursor around, but if you have a block, it figures out like what face of the block you're touching so that you can extend. So we can extend from here and then extend from here. It's our new input model, so it's not just all locked to the same Z level. It's like a fake raycast that we're doing. However, there are these ghost blocks that are appearing. Where's the current ghost block? Oh, it's right there. You can see because we should be down one, but we're above. So yeah, there's a ghost block here. That's enough input probably. Begin, end, begin, end, begin, end, begin. Oh, we're never receiving a continue? Actually, that makes sense. Try that one more time and I'll do a continue. I'll do a click drag. Way too ghosty? Yeah. So if I like place a few and then I do like a quick drag. There we go. So you can click drag and like drag out shapes. Like I can just drag out like a group like that. The highlight is just being super weird. And you know what? It probably has something to do with the problem that we're seeing. But I'm not gonna. Okay, so no, we do get a continue. So we get begin, continue, end, begin, end, begin, end. A begin, end just means that we clicked down and clicked up in like sequential frames. So just a quick down, up, down, up. So that's fine. And then we get like begin, continue, end, begin, continue, end. Okay, so I think what's happening is like a continue and an end are happening on like the same frame or something. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. It has something to do with the block reveal. Well, for one thing, we need to prevent this duplicate block placement. We need to stop that because that shouldn't be happening. It's a side effect of the raycast. So like we have a block and then we're casting in the ray. And if we place a block and then the ray detects this new block. And then for some reason it's placing a block on top of that block. So it's doing this very quick double. It's doing this little double thing. Sorry, I just flicked the microphone. Shanso, is the level designing thingy in Godot? Yes, it is. It's running in game. I'm not doing a lot directly in the Godot engine. We are here. We do have the Godot engine. I'm writing this in C# because I am, like you, am more familiar with Unity. Is it a tool from Godot? We've written this all. This is all our own stuff. We actually have made our own auto tiler and our own. We've written a bunch of tools to support isometric 2D stuff that's layered like this. We're really just using Godot for rendering and input, and obviously like build and platform and all that stuff. But our simulation layer is often this like separate C# domain. You posted and share your work. Awesome, Commander. I'm gonna check that out. I enjoy Mr. Firetruck. It's kind of sick that you've written it. Yeah, we've had to develop a lot of our own tools because we're doing something kind of weird. I flicked the mic to punctuate your point. That's funny. Can we call it fake casting? It's fake raycasting. I want to call it Frakes casting. Or fake raycasting. But Frakes casting is funny and it's a Jonathan Frakes reference, but obviously that's dumb. It doesn't make sense, but you know. I don't know. Okay, so we know... Okay, so we're getting the inputs in the correct order. And we're not duplicating, which I thought was maybe what was happening. That doesn't seem to be what's actually happening. So I think there is something happening between the anchor chords and the bounds and everything. Probably it has to do with the cursor chords.w. There's something triggering a very quick action. I don't know how. Okay, I actually want to do this debug thing one more time. I want to do this one more time. I want to do a single click. I'm going to do a single click. I'm going to see what happens. And I'm going to see if the ghost is there after our single click. So I'm going to do a single click. Click. Is the ghost here? The ghost is in the room with us. Like, get out the Ouija board. Is the ghost here with us now? Okay, there's something else happening, which is not good, but let's put the pin in that. So a single begin, a single end. So the ghost gets placed from a single click, which is concerning. And if we can figure out why that's happening, we would know, we would understand this bug, and we would probably be able to fix it. So somewhere between place.begin and place.end, everything is going wrong. You know, it probably has something to do with the hidden blocks buffer or the hidden blocks list here. I don't see how. Oh, I wonder if a hover is coming in simultaneously. Let's actually try to figure that out. I'm also going to read the hover. Let's see if something like that is happening, because that would actually explain a little bit of what's going on here. If there's like an interrupting hover or a simultaneous hover, which would be really bad. HI, Jacob. Oh, this is going to be kind of annoying. Okay. Let's go back up here. Hover, 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 hover. Begin and hover. Yeah, no, there isn't anything interrupting occurring. Interesting. Okay. I don't like that there's this many hovers. I never intended for it to work this way. Originally, it made sense to do this. This is part of the reason why I am kind of not sold on this command pattern anymore. Or at least the way I'm doing it. Oh, HI, the Ouija board. Right. Why? Or is the ghost here with us now? Letter Y. Sorry. Streamer brain is a real thing. It's like, it's hard to analyze stuff that you're being told while you're streaming. It's tough. No need to be sorry. Well, too bad. I'm gonna. You can't stop me. Can't stop me from being sorry. You're like working in the most advanced system? Hardly. If this was an advanced system, I'd have a better idea of what's going on here. Okay, so we know where the problem is. It's just a matter of understanding how it is. So forget about the clipboard. So what do we do when we place a block? So we get our cursor coords plus whatever offset. Hey, ergo. Man, YouTube is mostly slop. Yeah. Just noise blabber. I hope you're not talking about me. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I listen to a lot of music on YouTube. I like finding like lo-fi radios and stuff like that, and it's like all slop now. It's really bad. And sometimes it's stuff that I really like. It might be good music. And then it's like, oh, this is AI generated, and I'm like, oh. Or it might not even be the music that's AI generated, but like there's like this video that goes along with it that's AI generated. It's like, yeah, I've heard that if you create a new account on YouTube, over 50% of what you see will just be slop. Just AI slop. I think if you have an older account, you're a little insulated because the algorithm already has a pretty strong idea of what you want. And so unless the stuff that you've already been looking at has gone that way, I think you're a little insulated from it. I am, at least. Oh, my systems have definitely surpassed my own human comprehension, that's for sure. Your TV, when it goes idle, goes to an AI slop lo-fi music video now. Oh my god, that's horrible. My TV just shows me like Google photo stuff, like cool like photos, which I like. I enjoy that. Not just AI, but even human content. Ah, I see. I see. Yeah, well, I don't think there's anything you can do about that. Most of the stuff, you know, they made like a McDonald's burger. You mean like it will never go bad? Because it's just full of preservatives? There's nothing fresh in it? It's an LG TV. Yeah, I think mine... No, mine isn't. Mine's like a... I don't know what my TV is. I think it's an LG. No, maybe not. No, it wasn't. But it was one of the Google TVs. It's a new problem. Yeah. They're always updating stuff. I was talking to someone about that, about like owning a car, which I don't have to own a car because I live in, you know, a dense urban environment. But I was like, man, if I had to buy a car, I would spend so much money just to get an old car from like before electronic entertainment systems and everything in cars. I'd be like, I don't want that. I'd be like, give me like a truck from like 1994 or something like. I'd be like, I don't care if it costs twice as much. And I would just like pay through the nose to like maintain it. And I'm like, I don't want all of this new stuff. Ergo, have you noticed the video essays about extremely niche, irrelevant things? I kind of like that stuff. It depends on what you consider irrelevant. Like, I will watch a Tim Rogers video that's like 9 hours long about cyberpunk or whatever. But that's different. That's maybe not the same thing that you're talking about. But I like long form. I like the long form essay content people are putting out. But yeah, it is crazy, some of it. It's not all good. You got to kind of choose your presenters. All right, I'm distracting myself from the real problem, which is like, how is it between beginning this argument and ending this argument? How is it that we get this desync? One, how do we get the desync? And two, how do we get this double tap block situation? I think I might know what's happening. I think I know what's happening. Let me see if I can summon the words. So when we hover, so hover, I'll show what I'm doing, I guess. There are good video essays, some are just beyond parody. The topics are so dumb. Yeah, it's kind of interesting what qualifies. You know, it's kind of what happens though. Like, you can see the same thing in like academics, you know? It used to be that, you know, if you were gonna write a book, you'd be like, I'm gonna invent this whole new field of science. Hold my beer. I'm gonna invent linear algebra. Like, like that used to be what it meant to be like an academic. But that's, you know, old. That's the old way of doing things. But like now it's like, if you're gonna write, you know, a book on something, it's like, I'm going to extend the understanding of this subfield like a little bit. Like, let me tell you, let me write a whole book about a subproblem of a subproblem of a subproblem. And it's like, it's just because there's so many people doing it. There's such a huge body of work in like the human knowledge base, and like that it's like, to do something novel that's still well supported and like acceptable, it's like you end up working on smaller and smaller things in more niche and obscure fields. I don't know if that's bad. It's just kind of, I think it's just kind of what happens. That's not exactly what you're talking about, but it's what it made me think of. A study on the thickness of roads in Namibia and how they affect social inequality. Yeah, exactly. Which is like a good thing to understand. Social inequality is something we should study, but like, yeah, it's like you have to, if you want to have it's like the world is getting smaller somehow. Or maybe it's just getting too full of stuff. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. All right, so here's the hover block. This is the block that follows your cursor around. But this block isn't real. It doesn't exist. It can't hurt you. It's just a block that is for visual purposes. And for some reason, when I click to place a block, it's like, I think what's happening is it's like treating that block as real for some reason, for the purpose of like placing another block. It's like taking the hover block, placing it, and then immediately placing another block on top of that block, depending on where the cursor is. So that I'll be hovering around and then like boop, and I placed one block, but now there's this ghost block that's also here. It's right here. You can see it because I can't select it. Or it's not that I can't select it, but that like the next placement is around it. Yeah, it has to do with that offset. Okay, okay. I kind of understand that. How do I prevent it? So we got to look at what's happening when you do a hover, because I think that's having some effect. Maybe through the prior bounds or something like that. So like when we're hovering, we do a couple things. We check to see if there's an active block. Like, do we have a block that we're trying to place? Or is our cursor empty? Or not a cursor, but like, are we not holding anything? Quote unquote, holding anything. If we're in eraser mode, we want to act directly on the block. We don't want to, you know, if we're hovering and we're not in eraser mode, this is the branch that we're most interested in. Then we set our cursor coordinates to be the offset of the cursor chords. So what happens when we get cursor chords and it's 0? Vector 3i dot 0. Okay, good. Okay, good. That's kind of correct. What happens down here? Oh. Is that right? No. So this cursor hit list dot count 0, cursor hit list 1. Game dot input tile mapping dot xy. Okay, if we upscale a vector 2 to a vector 4, the last two components should just be 0. So that should be fine. I guess we could confirm that's what's happening very quickly. Yeah, that's definitely what's happening. Whoa. Okay, yeah, that all seems to be just fine here. 3 is Z, so that's good. Okay, so that's working. Okay, so the cursor mapping system is working. So the problem is downstream from that. So it's definitely in here. So we set the prior bounds to be the cursor chords. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's a new axis aligned bounding box that's just a singular point at the moment. And then we go down here to do our block place. So we set our beginning. We begin our block placement. We say the anchor chords, which is like if you do a click drag, you want to know where the anchor was. You want to know like where you started. So we set that. Prior bounds becomes this bounding box of just 1 point, right? This game.input.cursor bounds just becomes the same thing. Actually, wait, why do I need to write new? I don't need to do that. It can convert itself implicitly. Whatever. Okay, so we're skipping continue because continue isn't even coming into play, which is curious. And then we look at the end. The end just says sync buffer changes. Hidden blocks.clear. I think I need to understand what the cursor chords are. That we're doing this. I need to see what's happening there. So bloop. 330, 330. Okay, so that doesn't change. And yet... 431. Okay, so it's getting the right... It's not like jumping. It's not like offsetting the coordinates all of a sudden between the begin and the end, which would be crazy if that's what it did. Okay. So there's only a few things that happen. The game.input.cursor bounds continues to be this cursor coordinates. That's wrong. This is wrong. However, I don't even think I use this for anything. Well, it says I use it 18 times. Okay, I use it somewhere. I use it in a couple places. All right, so I need to be careful about that. You know, that's probably... Oh, that explains why the hover doesn't work right. That explains why the visuals for the block hovering thing is wrong. Is this. What did that used to be? Someone's texting me. All right, so if we go back and we look at like this version, or maybe this version, this script, what did we used to do? So it used to be coords. So whatever the current coords were. That's actually kind of consistent. That's also consistent. Okay, so that's actually not different than what we used to do. Interesting. Okay. So it's actually kind of consistent with what we're doing here. I actually don't think I should be setting this. Oh, maybe I should. Maybe I should. Sync buffer changes is true. Hidden blocks dot clear. So I think hidden blocks is clearing. I think it's clearing the ghost block. So if we can fix that, we can at least see it. However, we still shouldn't be double tapping. For a single click, we shouldn't be getting an extra ghost block being placed. It would be nice if we could at least see it. That would be a step in the right direction. Hidden blocks is like anytime you cover up a block with a new block during whatever. During like a, especially when you're continuing. Well, no, that you just clear it. You're not revealing anything. Nowhere are we revealing anything here. Is it hover block's fault? Okay. So that's new. It used to be after placing a block, the coordinates, the cursor coordinates would never change. But because we're doing this raycast thing, as soon as we place a block, the coordinates jump to be an offset of that new coordinate. And so what's happening here is this reveal blocks command is coming in, and it's saying, well, before we draw anything new, we should reveal the thing that we were previously drawing last frame. Because, you know, if we're still there, we'll just draw it back. If we've moved, we'll draw it where it is now. Because hover is usually just a single block being drawn around. And so what it's doing is it's revealing the block. It's not looking at the new coordinates. It's revealing the block where the cursor used to be. That still doesn't totally make sense, but it makes more sense. So you got a new coordinate. You place a block, you get a new coordinate. We use the last set of coordinates as the prior bounds. Oh, we're not actually setting the prior bounds, are we? That is... well, that might be a problem. We're setting it here at the begin. We're modifying it here at the end. We're not actually setting it here, which we might want to be doing. Cursor, bound, prior bounds, reveal, lock. Well, no, reveal shouldn't do anything once we've cleared the hidden blocks buffer. Man, I still don't totally understand what's happening here. Signaling the sync buffer change shouldn't cause this, but let's just look at what's happening when we do the sync buffer change. So when we trigger a sync buffer change, we run this, we output that bool. It's called sync buffer change there. Now we call it sync preview buffer changes because we sync in both directions. And so we got to specify the direction here, out here. So if we're going to do it, if we either are going to do it now or we're going to do it before. And if the task has been, if a previous sync task has been completed. Oh, maybe this is a side effect of the syncing potentially taking... What's this function doing? You are running, aren't you? Yeah, we're doing a flood fill in the background. Nix, would you rather be the most intelligent in one very specific category or have generic knowledge in everything? Both limited by general human knowledge. I think it's better to know more. I've never been an expert in anything. And I think I like being a generalist. That's kind of what I do at my day job. I'm kind of a generalist. There's a lot of strength and safety in being a generalist. Arneo, you feel like having a niche would be better for your employment prospects? It can be. Some people argue that, like, with AI, generalism is going to go away. But I heard someone presented an interesting way where, like, if you want to be in the top 1% of programmers, there's a couple ways to do it. One is to be in the top 1% of programmers, is to just be that good a programmer. The other way to do it is to be in the top 25% of programmers, the top 25% of, like, public speakers, and the top 25% of, like, finance or strategy or something like that. Like, the more things that you know, like the wider range of skills that you have, it comes together to create a very unique total. It comes together to put you in a really unique position, and that, like, how many people know all of the different things that you know to the extent that you know them. And so you can make yourself very unique by knowing more and more different things. And so in one sense, you also then become in the top 1% of programmers, because a very small number of programmers have that multidisciplinary skill set that I described, which was not a great skill set. Nix, you would go with niche as well? It's like nobody even listens to me. Writer has a free version, right, Marticus? Yes. Wait, maybe. Let me double check if that's true. I pay for it. I don't know if that's true. That might be true. It might not. I don't know if that's true. It might not. There might not be a free version of Writer. You don't need Writer, though. I just use it because I've always paid for it. So, and Writer is kind of cool in that the longer you pay for it, the cheaper it gets. Yeah, I don't actually know that there's a free version of Writer. Plans and pricing for individual use. You might be able to get a special deal if you're a student, a teacher, or something like that. Yeah, there is no... I don't think there is... Oh, man, there's only 3. There's... The price only drops... Man, I pay $101 a year for Writer. I didn't realize that. I don't know if that's worth it. I like it. But honestly, you could probably just use VS Code and you'd probably be pretty happy. I didn't realize that. But yeah, the first year price of Writer is $169 and the third year price is $101. I've had it for a lot longer than 3 years. Oh wait, no, it says free for non-commercial use. So yes, there is a free version of Writer for non-commercial use. You're an IntelliJ guy all the way. Arneo, it might be a grass is greener situation for you. You're always super impressed by people who have that patience to really get into one thing. But yourself, you are quite a generalist too. Jacob, generalist has paid off very well for you. Yeah, that's good. You can ask at work. They'll probably give you a license. They probably would. How will they find out? Yeah, I don't know. I'm doing this in public, so, you know, if I ever make money off this, it'll be pretty obvious, but... Yeah, so when we run our sync, we do our sync preview buffer changes. Literally all we do is we copy... This is why span is so great. We just take our preview buffer. Oh man, I still call these forms. That's weird. Should probably rename this. Oh, Lord. Preview tags. Settled tags. Yeah, all we do is copy the span from the preview block of the preview blocks to the settled blocks. That's all that's happening. So what's crazy is that means at the time we do the copy. We run the mapping system. Then we run the sculpting system. Is this a system execution order problem? Should I just be running the mapping system after? Like last? Oh, you know what's... Well, that doesn't totally make sense. I still don't totally understand how this is, how this ghost block thing is happening. I would like to maybe figure out how to draw it. Man, every time I think I'm getting close to understanding, I'm still just like a little farther away than I think that I am. We need an "oh, I know what's happening" counter in the corner. I know, because I always say that, and then I'm like, wait, no, I don't. I have no idea what's happening. I mean, we could just try stuff. What if we process the input last, after everything else happens? What happens then? Will the problem just magically go away? Or will something horrible... Sorry, that was mean. No, you're right. It's not mean. It's funny. All right. We're going to see if this is a system execution order problem. So we're going to place a block. Nope. Okay, so it's not that. So that's not the problem. It's fine. I have another co-working event tonight where I can kind of just quietly sit and just like stare at this problem. Oh, is this... Oh no. It's there now. Okay. There it is now as well. It's a very interesting problem we have here. Oh no, that was fine. Looked for a quick second, it looked like the auto tiler might have been failing. Yeah. I like this. I like this being able to place into like multi-dimensionally. We couldn't do this before really easily without having to do some scroll wheel stuff. But we can do some neat stuff now. Yeah, this invisible ghost block is the bane of my existence. Otherwise, this system is working quite well. This block detection stuff, working great. Why isn't it working here? Maybe it is. Oh, it is. Ah, I see. No, it's fine. Neat. That's kind of weird, whatever's happening over there. Oh, I know why that's happening. How do I get this to not do that? Interesting. Any logic found in where it puts the ghost block? It's the immediate next block. So it's like using the raycast effect or the raycast. It's placing a block immediately in front of the block that you just placed. And it seems to be doing it simultaneously. And it seems to be doing it soon enough that it's transferred over to the settled block buffer and then erased from the preview block buffer, which is why we can't see it. So I actually think that maybe, even if it's not a system order thing, it still might be the fact that we don't initiate a transfer until some other thing ends. So there's something happening there's something happening between when the block gets placed and when the sync happens, where there's probably like a hover command coming in, and so another block is getting introduced that doesn't make sense either. There's something happening between these two events, and it's not clear where that could be, but you know, it's happening, so it's somewhere. Just a matter of finding out where. We'll figure it out. Where is this debug statement I wrote? It's in the hover, isn't it? Oh, it's right here. It's strange. We'll figure it out. I've got a few hours tonight to keep hunting this. This is my white whale for sure of the week. The white whale of the week. That should be a segment. It's like, what crazy bug has been driving you insane this week? All right. Well, we're coming up on the 3-hour mark, which is the end time of the stream here. So, well, I am pretty confident we'll have this done by the end of our stream week here, which will be either tomorrow or Saturday. Not when the end of the stream week is, but when we find it out. I think we'll figure it out in the next couple of days. I might even figure it out tonight. But I'm very pleased with the raycast selection stuff already. We just need to tamp down this unintended behavior. But this has been a really fun stream. There have been a lot of new people here that have been really... I mean, I like familiar faces. Don't get me wrong. Everyone who's been coming in. Stream after stream, checking in. Appreciate you too. Next for you, it's ladybugs. Both male and... You mean your white whale? Is the fact that male ladybugs and ladybugs are all called ladybugs? That is a hill to die on, Nix. I don't know who would choose that hill, but you know. It's funny. But yeah, I appreciate everyone. I don't know why anyone wants to hang out here with me while we're doing this, but I appreciate that you do. And we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Hopefully not the same problem, but we'll see, you know. You're making cool stuff. We're trying. We're trying. Good hunting. Thank you, Arneo. Good luck. Thanks, Jacob. Yeah, I want to try. If you share, hit me with that jam game. I think you did already, but I want to give it a try. Thanks for the stream. Thank you. You are what makes the stream. I'm just a guy talking into the void here. It's in the Discord. Yeah, let me know. I will give it a try this weekend probably. I'm very excited. But yeah. I think I want a better song to end to, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe this is fine. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Yeah, I do want a different song to end to. This is fun. Yeah. We'll be back tomorrow. I think I said that already. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Good luck out there with whatever you're working on. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you all again so much for watching. Yeah, I'll see you all next time. Bye.
Maximum warp.